To conclude this playlist, the financial benefits for JP Morgan of ThinkSheet's real world, yesterday, today, and tomorrow platform will be exponential. The big idea is that ThinkSheet transforms data ecosystems into visual thought process ecosystems, a revolutionary upgrade in terms of decision-making and collaboration value, plus exponential time and cost savings. AI competition and funding, government and private sector, is in a frenzy, like the growth of the internet in the 90s. The introduction of OpenAI last November has been a mega catalyst for AI becoming top of mind, not only for AI engineers, but also business leaders and individuals. Microsoft is increasing its initial $3 billion investment in OpenAI by $10 billion. And Silicon Valley is in an investment frenzy over generative artificial intelligence, even amid the tech gloom, with the Chinese trouncing the US in AI research, output, and quality. This Google AI graphic describes the collection of components at right as an open, unified, and intelligent data ecosystem with data at its core. ThinkSheet's visual intelligence platform transforms data ecosystems like Google's into a far more valuable visual thought process ecosystem, with the ThinkSheet one-pager as the ultimate output, visualizing the thought processes of Jamie Dimon, the JP Morgan C-suite, and all lead professionals firm-wide, and those are the most important people in the world, like Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, Tim Cook, Elon Musk, and the world's most powerful person, Xi Jinping. The purpose of this video is for JP Morgan leadership to understand the exponential benefits of ThinkSheet users' ability to communicate and score their judgments in any language, i.e., to quantify the qualitative. Visualizing thought processes makes them faster and easier to understand because 90% of information transmitted to the brain is visual, and visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text. Bloomberg users can see the reasons for their target prices using our ThinkSheet Equities app on the Bloomberg app portal. ThinkSheet's visual intelligence platform has two components, professional intelligence and artificial intelligence. Jamie Dimon represents the professional intelligence and Manuela Velosa, the AI, as head of JP Morgan's AI research. ThinkSheet Intelligence describes both user input into the models and the ThinkSheet model output. This is a ThinkSheet home run. The visual thought process ecosystem with 6 types of intelligence linked together in the following sequence. First, business users model their judgments, i.e. their qualitative intelligence. Second, their numbers, their quantitative intelligence. And ThinkSheet synthesizes the two and links the thought processes and scores, the professional intelligence, to the artificial intelligence, which then links to the machine learning intelligence. And finally, the business and AI teams augment the machine learning output before recycling the model back to the users to update. ThinkSheet's unique common measurement system is a pivotal technological breakthrough that enables users to communicate their judgments and thought processes in any language, using any visuals, and simultaneously score every element of their thought process in a consistent way, ranging from the most positive with a score of 1 to the most negative of -1, making them apples to apples for comparison purposes. This ThinkSheet global macro model, co-developed in 2010 with a buy-side strategist for a global investment bank, is a template for the JP Morgan country allocation use case that follows with its China soft and hard landing scenarios. You can see the language and the scores for the catalyst for the soft landing and the hard landing, and their analysis as a whole, i.e. their professional intelligence. This is a JP Morgan country allocation simulated use case example, with Jamie Dimon and the C-suite as simulated users. Jamie Dimon described the problem with models in his letter to shareholders on April 4th of last year. I've always been critical of people's excessive reliance on models, since they don't capture major catalysts such as culture, character, and technological advances, and other impossible to model qualitative factors, including supply chain issues, sanctions, war, and a reversal of QE in the face of unparalleled inflation. Quantitative analysis is only partial analysis. None of its critical qualitative issues, usually the drivers, are included in the models. By contrast, ThinkSheet models include both qualitative and quantitative factors, and he and his team can easily place him in the proper place in the model. The model is structured and almost as versatile and dynamic as Jamie Dimon's thought processes, enabling his team to react to sudden changes in real time, like Putin's invasion of Ukraine and Xi Jinping's sudden zero COVID pivot in response to the two-day protest. ThinkSheet pre-populates the models and provides the tools to customize them, using the closest matches to users' thought processes in its 200-plus ThinkSheet model library, broken down into reusable modules like Lego, as well as its research and visuals library. First, the user match. Byron Wien of Blackstone as a proxy for the strategist co-developer. Next, the thought process match. The China soft versus hard landing scenario debates in 2010 on Bloomberg TV between Stephen Roach, head of Morgan Stanley Asia, and Jim Chanos, a leading short seller, whether China's massive fiscal and debt stimulation would lead to a soft or hard landing. Stephen Roach was a source of the catalyst judgment of 200 to 600 million people moving into the middle class for the soft landing scenario, using ThinkSheet scoring tools. ThinkSheet then multiplied the weight of 20% times a 100% score to generate the weighted score of 20% and the triple plus symbol in green color to highlight that the catalyst has a very positive impact on the overall score. Same process for the 3 risk and X factors. Jamie Dimon and his team can quickly and easily update the catalysts and scores with their current judgments. Chanos was a source of the hard landing judgments, and our team the scores. Best easy update, including Jamie Dimon's impossible to model qualitative issues. This is a view of the scenario comparisons. The language, colors, and scores as visual stories enable everyone to understand at a glance why China's overall score is 86% and its ranking second for the soft landing and minus 100% and 7th ranking the hard landing, and the foundation for increasing or decreasing the relative allocation of resources to China. The models are modular, so the JP Morgan team can use them individually, in combination, and as a whole, and save what's most important into the thought process database. Here's what's revolutionary in terms of the PI-AI combination. ThinkSheet user-created scores transform their thought processes into maximum value data for the AI to process. Everyone can see and cross-examine every element of Roach's thought process for the soft landing scenario, i.e., his professional intelligence. The Jamie Dimon's team can update and save the thought process into the thought process database for the AI to augment, and then recycle the augmented thought process back to Jamie Dimon and/or any permitted user of the ecosystem. For the Chanos hard landing, the business and AI augmentation teams determined that the PI value is limited to the catalyst, risk, and X factors and save them into the database. Modeling Xi Jinping's thought process is a must. His influence on the world is unparalleled, and he can change his mind in terms of policies and execution like zero COVID in a day. The team can use Henry Kissinger's thoughts, rate the probability of Xi Jinping invading Taiwan and the consequences, and assign the score. The thoughts of Chris Miller, the new thought leader for the chip war between the U.S. and China, regarding the impact of the U.S. advanced chips export controls on the relationship among the U.S., China, and the EU. The communications power of each judgment and the accuracy of each score is critical to their value to the AI. ThinkSheet synthesizes the thought processes of Jamie Dimon, the C-suite, and all JP Morgan business users as a visual story and preserves them as a goldmine of institutional knowledge for reuse when appropriate. The ThinkSheet deliverable is a customized visual thought process ecosystem that will provide JP Morgan users with virtually unlimited versatility to model all a part of their thought processes in any language and visuals. ThinkSheet assets include this 26-page Morgan Stanley research report entitled Quantifying Our Thought Process, in which the equity analysts describe the ThinkSheet value proposition and benefits. This report was the first of 7 reports using ThinkSheet models to make the report shorter and faster and easier to understand. ThinkSheet models are exponentially more versatile and dynamic than conventional models. Your teams can use the one-pager in meetings to quantify their qualitative and quantitative analysis, see their whole story at a glance, iterate through what-if scenarios at speed of thought, and ThinkSheet generates a complete, precise answer as a set of scores for each scenario instantly, enabling JP Morgan leaders, business and AI, and their direct reports and analyst teams, sometimes including over 1,000 professionals and engineers for large firms like JP Morgan, to collaborate far more productively, horizontally, and vertically. The model templates include investment use cases like global macro, business like country allocation, equities on the Bloomberg, target price app to forecast JP Morgan target price, and portfolio ranking app to rank it relative to competitors. ThinkSheet All Prices, and ThinkSheet Real Estate. The real estate use case ranks potential acquisitions in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee for large-scale multi-use developments. We live in a complex, interconnected, and uncertain world. ThinkSheet's specialty is helping our partners and customers leverage their visual thought process ecosystems to model and explain their most complex and important decisions and provide them with a long-term competitive advantage over their peers in terms of decision value and time and cost savings. An early deliverable will be a financial benefits playlist customized to meet JP Morgan's specific needs. The following 5 videos will give you a sense of the depth and breadth of the unique thought process content available in ThinkSheet's 100+ video library. This TMT case illustrates ThinkSheet at its most powerful. Sell and buy-side teams using the equities app on the Bloomberg to iterate through what-if scenarios in real time in a meeting to forecast the target price of Apple and rank it relative to 9 other tech giants, including Tesla, Google, and Microsoft. The one-pager keeps everyone in the meeting laser-focused at all times on what's most important. A 2-minute introduction of ThinkSheet, the quantifying the qualitative breakthrough, the smartphone analogy in which a tech strategist for a large financial services firm analogizes ThinkSheet to the iPhone in terms of innovation, disruption, and market size. The strategist is part of a team whose mission is to evaluate all new disruptive technologies to determine which ones to adopt over the next 5 years. His conclusion is that ThinkSheet is a must-buy enterprise application for large institutions. A video similar to the JP Morgan financial benefits for Bloomberg. JP Morgan can use custom videos like this one to persuade other large institutions to partner with it and ThinkSheet to make visual thought process ecosystems a new standard for decision-making and collaboration for major institutions worldwide. Please feel free to contact us by phone or email.